Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, man. As usual, man. And today, I told you guys I was going to do a follow-up video to the live stream from yesterday. And everything that went down, everything that was said. And we're going to do a video on it today. Because once again, we must, like I said, guys, we must expose and we must, set the record straight, stop the lies, stop the narratives. And Gilbert Arenas, guys, got a whole bunch of narratives, and he made a bunch of excuses yesterday on the live stream. And we're going to talk about some of the things that he said today and expose him. Like I said, you guys know the deal. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states that's been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all the support, man. Shout out to all you guys in the comment section. Everybody that was out there yesterday during the live stream, man, all the support you guys were giving to our live stream, backing us up. It means a lot, guys, so thank you, man. I'm truly humbled, man. You guys understand, and you guys allow me to be me. This is what I do, and this is why I'm here. So thank you to all you guys out there. The true supporters, man. Thank you. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I told you guys yesterday I was going to do a video today and just go over some of the things that Gilbert Arenas said in a live stream yesterday. If you guys don't know, go check it out. It's a long live stream. It's one of our longest live streams, like 3.5 hours or whatever it is. He comes in about an hour and, I don't know, hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes or whatever it is into the live stream. And from the jump, this man was avoiding questions, not really answering the questions. Or when he was trying to answer questions, it wasn't really adding up to things that he's already said in the past. And this is what I'm telling you with these guys. Someone like Gilbert Arenas, he forgets a lot of the things that he says because he says so much weird stuff. So he can't keep up with this stuff, these guys. So when you're always flip-flopping around, it's hard for you to keep your integrity, guys. And that's what I noticed about Gilbert Arenas yesterday. And I asked him straight up about the comments that he made. You know, first, I said to him, I don't understand how you can support Michael Jordan and say that Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time and respect Michael Jordan, and then at the same time have LeBron James ranked number 2 and support LeBron James. Because in order for you to have LeBron James ranked number 2 all time, you must be a supporter, a true supporter of LeBron James and the things that he's done throughout his career. So I asked him straight up, how can you call yourself a Michael Jordan fan? Because he said he was a fan of Michael Jordan. He had Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time. But he had LeBron James number 2. It doesn't add up. Everything that Michael Jordan stands for, everything he stood for, everything he represented, all the effort he gave on the court, like I said yesterday, right? All the things that he did, the way that he carried himself, right? The way that he respected the fans, playing with that love of the game. All these things, playing through injuries, not flopping around, not crying and moaning, not pointing the finger at his teammates, not getting the coaches fired, right? Never making all these excuses. All these things. LeBron James is the complete opposite of that. So how can you support LeBron James or be a fan of Michael Jordan and have LeBron James ranked number 2? Because if you're a fan of Michael Jordan, he's ranked number 1, and Gilbert Arenas wasn't understanding this. Then all the things that, like I said, Michael Jordan represents, LeBron James doesn't. There are other great NBA players that represent the same things that Michael Jordan represented. So I would never have LeBron James right behind Michael Jordan anywhere close to Michael Jordan. But he had no answer for that, no explanations, nothing to explain having LeBron James number 2. He turned it into me, what am I arguing about? Because I agree, he is Michael Jordan number 1. It was never about that. I don't care about that. It's all the nonsense that he says. So that was one thing that didn't add up. And then I asked him about the comments he made about the guys in the 80s and the 90s only being able to play 82 games because they were taking steroids. Straight up said that. And I called him out about that, and I said it was a bunch of nonsense. But what did Gilbert Arenas do? He decided to double down those comments and then talk about all this stuff about drug testing policies and all of this nonsense, man, into how guys were only tested a certain amount of times back in the day versus now. And he tried to spin it somehow as the guys today are under more scrutiny or under stricter enforcements. It's an absolute joke to even think that the guys today don't have way more ways around these things, or the fact that these guys are actually being tested for these chemicals or whatever the case may be. So he was trying to spin that whole thing, talking all this stuff, giving the PC answers, giving all these weird answers. Once again, that never explains what I said to him. I said, if the guys in the past, if they needed all those drugs and steroids to play the 82 games, and he's trying to make it seem everyone's taking steroids, that's his stance. Everyone's taking steroids in basketball, in all of sports. Everyone's taking steroids. That's Gilbert Arenas' stance, apparently. He'll just put a general statement, a blanket statement across the entire era, and he'll say these guys were taking steroids. It still didn't escape him from the fact, what I said, then how come the guys today are not playing the games? And what he spinning into? He went to another thing now. A whole bunch of nonsense about the ownership. They don't want the players playing. They're keeping these guys out the games. Even when these guys want to play, the ownership is not letting them play because they're protecting their investment. They're worried about these guys 5, 20, 15 years down the road, he's saying. It don't add up. Once again, never answered any of the questions, right? Never proved any points. Never disputed anything I said to him. He had no answer for this stuff. He just kept running on about a bunch of nonsense, blaming the owners for the players not playing, basically saying the players have no power. But then you look at the NBA, and they're making moves all over the place. The coaches are always the first ones to get fired, not the players. And then he makes it about the ownership not wanting the players to play. But then when you ask him and you bring up the 65-game minimum that the NBA put on the players, it doesn't add up then. The NBA's forcing these guys to play because they never were playing. They were only playing 45, 50 games, these guys. They were sitting out all these games. So the NBA had to come up with the restrictions to get these guys to show up to work. But Gilbert Arenas is telling us that the management doesn't want the guys to play 82 games. What does that have to do with the guys in the 80s and the 90s playing the 82 games? He wants you to believe it's because they were all on steroids. Because he believes this person was taking steroids. Or he heard this guy was taking steroids. Or he saw people doing steroids when he played. He didn't play in the 80s and the 90s. And just because you saw someone taking steroids, or you heard this guy was taking steroids, or that guy was, doesn't mean everyone was doing it. You can't say an entire era was cokeheads and steroid abusers. This is Gilbert Arenas' stance, though. This is why he's a clown to me. And this is why I don't respect what he's saying. You can't make a blanket statement like that. It's ridiculous to say that so you're saying all the great players from that era, they were all on steroids. Michael Jordan was, John Stockton was on steroids because he played 82 games more than anybody. So he must have been taking all kinds of super duper steroids, John Stockton. All the great players. David Robinson was doing it, right? Hakeem Olajuwon. This is what Gilbert Arenas wants you to believe. These are the statements that he's making. And where's his evidence? Does Gilbert Arenas have any evidence? Is Gilbert Arenas calling up the news right now? Is he going on ESPN right now and putting all these guys' names out there and saying, hey, all these guys taking steroids, here's my proof. This is how they played 82 games. He ain't got no proof. He ain't doing that. He's just telling everybody out here on this podcast that these guys are taking steroids because he saw someone do it or he heard this guy was doing it or some story he read about. Where's the evidence of this? They'll keep talking about evidence for LeBron James. Oh, there's no evidence of LeBron James ever doing it. He never failed a drug test. That's what Gilbert Arenas was like. How many drug tests did Michael Jordan fail? But he'll say that Michael Jordan's era used steroids to play 82 games? You see what I'm saying, guys? He was all over the place. Nothing he said was adding up. He was actually contradicting himself all over the live stream. He was actually disproving his own points all over the live stream. He was making all the points that I was making. He was actually, like I said, verifying everything I'm saying, and he exposed himself. That's right. These guys are not playing because they don't want to play. He talked about the NBA being a business. No, duh, idiot. We know it's a business. That's why when you say NBA, is a difference between NBA and basketball. Right? Basketball, we all can go play basketball. We all can't be in the NBA. It's a business. No doubt. But what does that have to do with what we were talking about? He made it as a business. Oh, they don't want the guys playing. How is that good for business if your stars are not playing? That's why they came with the minimum. This is why they came with a 65-game minimum, guys, to get these guys to show up because the product was suffering. The ratings were down. Yes, the NBA is making money. It'll always make money. But is it making the kind of money that it should be making? Is it the kind of popularity that it was in the 90s? No. Is the All-Star game a joke? Yes, it is. The product is suffering. The game is suffering. Look at USA Basketball. Right? It all goes hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen. Gilbert Arenas talking about the owners don't want the guys to play. If you're protecting your investment, he was talking about guys playing 15, 20 years. And he's saying it, and once again, and I called him out on this. You're talking about the ownership not wanting players to play because they're trying to think down the road 15, 20 years. These guys are not staying on teams that long. It don't add up. Once again, if you have a player on your team and you sign to a 4-year deal, you're telling me the ownership is worried about this guy 10 years down the road? No. They want this guy to go out there and play those 4 years. Give the effort. Show up to work. Be a true professional. Be prepared. These guys are not. They're not taking care of themselves in the offseason. They're here lollygagging. They're not eating right. They're not taking care of their bodies, and they break down easy. They're mentally weak, these guys, because they're all entitled. But Gilbert Arenas, all they want you to believe is the ownership. It's all on the ownership. Once again, making excuses for these guys, not putting any responsibility or accountability at the players' feet because they have no power. Yet every time I turn around, another player is requesting a trade or wanting out of a situation or another coach is fired. I don't get it. It don't add up. How can the management be worried about players 15, 20 years down the road when they're not playing for teams for 15, 20 years? And I said, the guys when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, they did that. So that would make sense if you said that. Oh, I want to keep Michael Jordan for 15, 20 years, so let's sit him out 20 games a season. That sounds stupid as hell. That sounds ridiculous. But this is what Gilbert Arenas was saying on the live stream yesterday, guys. He's an ex-NBA player. And another thing I want to say real quick, too, while it's on my mind, is this idea that I was talking over Gilbert Arenas. Let's make one thing very, very clear here, guys. This was not a formal debate. This was not Gilbert Arenas versus Sports and Fitness Rants in a formal debate, and I was talking over him the whole time. Absolutely not. I've done many formal debates many times, and you guys know me on the live streams. That was not a formal debate. That's number one. So I was not talking over Gilbert Arenas, okay? Number two, more importantly, also, we must remember, Gilbert Arenas asked to come on to the live stream. He asked to come on. We allowed him on. And then he proceeded to do what? Duck and weave, bob the questions, and then repeatedly answer questions with a question. What kind of idiot does that? He was goofing up the live stream, trying to take it over, and he thought he was going to school us. He thought he was going to come on there and then, once again, take over the live stream. And I would not allow that. I wouldn't allow it. That's what it's about. Remember that. He was the one cursing on the live stream. I never used one curse that entire live stream. And people told me I was getting angry. No. What I was getting upset with or frustrated with was the nonsense he was coming on the live stream with. Like I just talked about. All these weird answers he was giving, making all these excuses. Like I said, not answering any questions straight up. Always ducking and moving around, avoiding certain questions. Like I said, not even answering the questions. He would answer a question and by changing it, deflecting everything, changing the topic, moving the goalposts on this guy. He gives an answer. Then once again, I call him out 10 minutes later. He forgot what he even said. He don't even know what he said. He brought up bullheadedness. He said the players in the 80s and the 90s, they were bald. They were more bald guys. So that proves and shows that there were guys taking steroids. If that's not one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, that makes no sense. No sense. So you're saying right now the entire era of the 80s and 90s were taking steroids because there were more bald-headed players. That's what he wants you to believe. Think about how it sounds. When he said that, I couldn't believe it. I started laughing. I mean, you came here to live stream with bald-headedness. That's your evidence? Once again, where's the evidence of all the guys that were doing steroids? There's no evidence. Bald head is not evidence. How many guys still have hair that played in the 80s and the 90s? What are we talking about here? Once again, you're talking about an entire era. Where's the evidence of this? If you want to name a couple of players here and there taking steroids, yeah, maybe there was. No doubt about it. But we're talking about, in generalities, most of the players of those eras were able to play. Whether it was the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s. Guys were playing games. There's no excuse. All Gilbert Arenas did was make excuses. Bald-headedness. Oh, there were more bald-headed guys back in the 80s and 90s. That's how you know these guys were taking steroids. So it had nothing to do with the fact that a shaved head started to come into style more. It had nothing to do with Michael Jordan and him bringing up the bald head stuff and other guys at that time in the 80s and the 90s, right? Making the bald head more popular. Guys shaving their head on purpose to have a bald head. I don't understand where he's going with this. So you're saying now that if you're not bald, or if you are bald, that means you took steroids. I don't have that much hair. I don't take steroids. I've never taken steroids. My dad is bald. You know, he never takes steroids. So all the bald-headed people in the world have taken steroids in their lives. That's the only side effect of steroids. That's what we're going with here. That's the scientific research, right? And the intellectual of Gilbert Arenas. That's his mind. He wants you to believe everyone that's bald-headed is bald because they took steroids. That's the only side effect of taking steroids. Once again, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand. And once again, I ask these guys, what does taking steroids have to do with you playing 82 games a season? It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It's a 1-2. These guys wanted to play the games, and he couldn't answer that. He never went and alluded to those things. He kept going around everything and talking about drug testing and all this weird stuff and the ownership and the management and the rules here and this thing there. He couldn't explain anything that we challenged him on. Nothing. So once again, I told you, he exposed himself. And I called him out, and I challenged him. And I challenged him once again. Gilbert Arenas, have me on your show. Whatever you want to do. And let's debate. Larry Bird versus LeBron James. Let's not even worry about Michael Jordan. Since you want to say, oh, I have Michael Jordan as a GOAT. What's this guy arguing about? No doubt. I don't think LeBron James is anywhere close to Michael Jordan. I told you he's not in my top 10. He'll never be in the worthy of a top 10 conversation. I explained my stance yesterday. Let's talk about Larry Bird. I don't think he's anywhere close to Larry Bird. So I think Larry Bird's greater than LeBron James. Let's debate Larry Bird. I'll debate Larry Bird versus LeBron James on your channel, on your platform, whatever you want to do. I'll come on there. And I'll debate. And we could do, like I said, a professional, a formal debate where you get to speak for whatever amount of minutes you want to set it up for. Then I'll speak and we can go back and forth that way. It don't have to be no talking over each other. I'll be your guest on your platform. And we could do that debate. Let me know if you want to do it. Once again, man, you will expose yourself. There's no way you can justify LeBron James being right behind Michael Jordan, man. Whether it's any of the things that I talked about as far as him carrying himself with the honor, the integrity, the class, all the antics, the hopping from team to team, blaming the teammates, all this stuff, man. This is what I'm talking about. The on-the-court game. Give me Larry Bird over LeBron James on-court game any day. I broke it down many times. You guys know me on this channel, man. I've done videos on this. LeBron James is nowhere the all-around player of a Larry Bird. He don't got the heart, the grit, the leadership of a Larry Bird. He don't galvanize the teammates like a Larry Bird, man. He don't have the on-court game of Larry Bird. Just doesn't. No matter what they want you to believe. So, Gilbert Arenas, please allow me onto your platform and we can debate this, man. He kept yelling to me, what is this guy arguing with me about? I said Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. That's what he kept saying to me. But it was never about that. I never asked him about having Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time. What I said to him was, how can you have Michael Jordan as the greatest of all time? So obviously you're respecting Michael Jordan and what he represented. You have him as the greatest of all time, in your opinion. If that's the case, how the hell can LeBron James be number 2? There's no way. Like I said, you can do that. It don't matter who you are, Gilbert Arenas or anybody. It doesn't make any sense. The mentality is not there. If you represent Michael Jordan, you respect what he did, the way he went about it, then you can't respect LeBron James and what he's done. There's no way you can put him right behind Michael Jordan. There would be other guys in between. The Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds. To me, a Dr. J, a Jerry West. You know what I'm saying? Some of these other guys. Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell. Give me these guys over LeBron James. Gilbert Arenas was asking me, oh, what's your top 5 or your top 3? Who's your number 2 guy? He wanted to always ask these questions so he could steer the conversation in the live stream the way he wanted to go. And I'm not falling for this nonsense. I was setting the record straight on what the things he was saying. Too wrapped about what I was saying. What was my top 5, my top 10 is irrelevant. What I'm saying to you is there's no way in hell that LeBron James is right behind Michael Jordan. No way in hell. It's not possible. Not if, once again, if you listen to what he said originally, when he came out and Scab Attack asked him on the start about the Kobe Bryant stuff, right? Scab Attack came at him with the Kobe Bryant stuff. Scab Attack wanted to do his own one-on-one debate, his own formal debate, Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James with Gilbert Arenas. But the response that Gilbert Arenas gave was nonsensical, but it led you to believe that he would have had Kobe Bryant over LeBron James. So he couldn't really even justify having LeBron James over Kobe Bryant, let alone right behind Michael Jordan. And this is what I was trying to get across him, that he wasn't understanding, and he couldn't unexplain it. So that's why I offered up the Larry Bird debate. We don't have to be about Michael Jordan. We can debate Larry Bird because he's made some asinine comments about Larry Bird over the months, saying that Kevin Durant's greater than Larry Bird. Kevin Durant. Larry Bird. LeBron James not even greater than Larry Bird. How the hell is Kevin Durant? It's a joke. I'll debate that angle all day too if he wants to. Kevin Durant versus Larry Bird. We can debate both of them versus Larry Bird. You came to the live stream yesterday, man, and you got embarrassed. And you exposed yourself and you exposed everything about these guys today. That they're only playing for the money, right? They're not really wanting to play. Now you're trying to make an excuse they ain't got no power. And I called him out on that stuff about how many players have bounced around. And he thought I was going to say LeBron James. And I called out guys like, I asked him, how many teams has Kevin Durant played on? How many teams has James Harden played on? Or Paul George? Or Kawhi Leonard? How many teams these guys played on? They bounced all over the place, these guys. There's no loyalty. He's talking about these guys, they don't want them to play because they might get injured and they're worried about 15, 20 years. What? These guys ain't playing now. It's a bunch of nonsense. So remember, man, Gilbert Arenas, if you're going to come to our live stream ever again, you better come correct, man, for real. Don't come with the nonsense, man. And don't be dodging and bobbing and weaving, man. You look like an idiot out here. Dodging questions, answering questions with questions. Like my man Angry Old Hoops called him out on that. The dude ain't never answered no question. He asked him a question, he asked us a question. Then he don't let us answer it. Then he wants to say, because he thinks he knows what he's doing. He's trying to lead the live stream. No, absolutely not. I'm not letting goofball Gilbert Arenas come on there with his nonsensical takes and his idiotic responses and his ducking, invasive, and deflecting tactics. Come in there and take over the live stream, guys. You know the deal. I'm going to stand on my principles. You guys know me on this channel. That's what it's always been about. So once again, I challenge Gilbert Arenas to a debate on his channel. Larry Bird versus LeBron James. Kevin Durant versus Larry Bird. Whatever you want to do, man. Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James. I don't care. Magic Johnson versus LeBron James. Tim Duncan versus LeBron James. Whatever you want to do, man. No way LeBron James in the top 10 ever. No way. No way you can respect what some of the other all-time greats did. You're not living up. You're not upholding the standard. You're not holding LeBron James to a standard, Gilbert Arenas. And that's what all the answers you gave yesterday, that's what they proved. You ain't holding any of the NBA players to a standard. You blaming everybody else for why they're not playing or why they're not doing this. Talking about LeBron James' longevity, that made him in an all-defensive team. And since he was 30. Right? He was trying to knock Bill Russell. Once again, he was slandering Bill Russell's era. This is what these guys do. Right? They got nothing to say, so they go to the tear-down tactics. And he was trying to tear down Bill Russell's era. All this nonsense, man, when Hoop God brought up Bill Russell. There goes Gilbert Arenas knocking Bill Russell's era. Because he was there for it. He watched it. He knows all this nonsense, right? You guys know. Go watch the live stream, guys. You know what I'm saying. You'll hear what I'm saying. He didn't say anything. He didn't say nothing. He was avoiding everything. He gave a bunch of nonsensical statements, man. Just a lot of talk. Talking in circles. And I said to him many times, dude, you're talking in circles. You ain't saying nothing. Never answered anything. Once again, never educated us. All he gave was a bunch of conspiracy theories with no proof or evidence of any of this stuff. No evidence. I challenge Gilbert Arenas then also. You have all this proof, all these guys doing all this stuff. Then come out. Put the evidence out. I would love to see the story. Breaking news from Gilbert Arenas, man. These guys want to run their mouths, but they ain't got no evidence to support anything that they're saying. Everything that I talk about on my channel is verified through the video footage, guys. Everything. These guys have no evidence for anything. You want to make excuses for this guy, make excuses for that guy. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.